In 2007, deep beneath the Southern Ocean, something strikes a camera and nobody understands what they're looking at. This isn't interference or debris drifting past a lens. Whatever hits it moves with intention. Something alive has crossed into the frame, then vanished back into black water. We are descending past 1,000 meters in the Ross Sea, Antarctica, a depth where sunlight no longer exists and pressure crushes metal over time. Picture it. Water hovering at -1.8 scarcity, dense enough to resist movement, swallowing sound almost instantly. Above this darkness, a Japanese research trawler drags a reinforced net through the abyss, repeating a routine survey in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. Nothing about this operation is meant to be dramatic until the net resurfaces. When it breaks the surface, something is wrong. The mesh isn't tangled or snagged on rock. It's torn clean through, as if something inside pushed back. Embedded in the netting is a single object, slick with seawater and perfectly round, still undamaged by the ascent. An eye 30 centimeters across, wider than a human forearm, glassy, intact, and unblinking. Eyes this large are not built for speed or surface waters. They exist to capture the faintest traces of light, photons so scarce they barely register as illumination. For scale, this eye is the size of a dinner plate, evolved to function where darkness is absolute, and bioluminescence is often the only signal life is nearby. At first, the explanation feels obvious, a fragment of a giant squid. That explanation collapses almost immediately. The surrounding tissue is too thick, the muscle density wrong for a giant squid. Nearby, embedded in the net, are hooks, not soft suction cups, but hard, rotating curves designed to lock into struggling prey. This damage didn't come from fishing equipment. Whatever was caught here tore itself free. So here's the question nobody aboard can answer yet. What kind of creature needs eyes this large and hooks this heavy just to survive? When the specimen is finally examined on deck, the illusion breaks completely. It isn't longer than expected. It's heavier, nearly 495 kilograms over 1,000 pounds compressed into a body engineered for pressure, cold, and scarcity. For context, that's heavier than a compact car, adapted to operate where oxygen is limited, and biology itself slows down. This isn't the giant squid. It's something denser, something built specifically for the abyss. And once scientists begin measuring what they've pulled from the deep, one truth becomes unavoidable. Size isn't the strangest thing about the colossal squid. It's only the beginning. When researchers finally lay the specimen out on deck, the numbers don't surprise them. They stop them cold. Length estimates stretch to 14 meters, but that isn't what breaks expectations. It's the weight. Nearly 495 kilograms over 1,000 pounds compressed into an animal without bones, living entirely below crushing pressure. Here's the first comparison that matters. The colossal squid's eye alone measures roughly 30 centimeters across, wider than a human forearm, built to detect movement where light barely exists. That isn't excess, it's survival math. In a world without sunlight, vision becomes the most valuable currency. Then comes the body mass. At half a ton, this squid outweighs the giant squid, long assumed to be the largest invertebrate on Earth. For context, that's the mass of a compact car, suspended in water so cold it slows chemical reactions. Muscle at this scale shouldn't function without oxygen-rich blood or rigid bones. And yet, it does. The final comparison reframes everything. Colossal squid lives and hunts at depths exceeding 2,200 meters, a vertical range taller than the Burj Khalifa from ground to spire. That entire column is pitch black, near freezing, and under pressure exceeding 220 atmospheres. Every meter down multiplies the cost of being alive. So how do scientists even know these numbers are real? They don't rely on a single specimen. Measurements come from intact captures, beak fragments pulled from sperm whale stomachs, and tissue density models adjusted for pressure. Beaks don't stretch, eyes don't exaggerate, and stomach contents don't lie. This raises a deeper mystery. Size alone explains nothing. Plenty of animals grow large in the ocean. Blue whales do it with warmth, oxygen, and endless food. The colossal squid does it without any of those advantages. No sunlight, limited prey, suffocating pressure. So here's the question that changes everything. Why would evolution push an animal to become heavier, denser, and more extreme than anything else in its category? What kind of world demands this design, and what kind of world makes it inevitable? Because once you stop focusing on how big the colossal squid is and start asking where it lives, the answer begins to take shape. To understand the colossal squid, you have to understand the world that shaped it. This creature does not exist despite its environment. It exists because of it. Everything about its body is a response to a place humans almost never enter. Picture the midnight zone of the Southern Ocean. No sunlight, no seasons, just endless black water moving slowly around Antarctica, driven by polar currents that never warm. Temperatures hover between -1 and 2 degrees Celsius, cold enough to slow nerve signals and chemical reactions inside living cells. Pressure here is relentless. At depths beyond 2,200 meters, the water presses down with more than 220 atmospheres of force, roughly 3 tons per square inch. Soft tissue collapses. Gas-filled spaces vanish. Any structure that isn't reinforced simply fails. In this environment, flexibility becomes strength, and density becomes protection. Light does not penetrate this world. Vision depends on bioluminescence, brief flashes produced by other organisms moving, feeding, or fleeing. Eyes are not for color or detail here. They are motion detectors, tuned to capture the faintest disturbance in total darkness. That is why the colossal squid's eyes are so large. Not for dominance, for survival. Food is scarce and spread far apart. There are no reefs, no blooms, no constant supply. Energy arrives in pulses, an injured fish, a migrating squid, a drifting carcass sinking from above. Every encounter has to count. Wasting energy on speed or constant movement would be fatal. Other animals here follow the same rules. Patagonian toothfish grow slowly and live long, conserving energy at every opportunity. Sleeper sharks drift for hours between movements, relying on ambush rather than pursuit. Lanternfish rise and fall through the water column, carrying the ecosystem's limited energy with them. This is not an environment that rewards agility or aggression. It rewards patience. It rewards efficiency. It rewards bodies built to endure crushing force without burning fuel. In a world like this, becoming larger is not about intimidation. It is about storing energy, resisting pressure, and surviving long gaps between meals. The colossal squid is not an evolutionary accident. It is the logical endpoint of darkness, pressure, and scarcity acting over millions of years. Every kilogram of its mass, every hook on its arms, every centimeter of its eyes is a direct answer to the abyss that surrounds it. And once you understand this world, one thing becomes clear. A creature built like this does not chase its prey, it waits. So how does a half-ton squid actually hunt in total darkness? Most people imagine speed, violent thrashing, rapid pursuit, a deep-sea blur of tentacles. Forget that. Down here, speed is a liability. Every sudden movement burns energy that may not be replaced for weeks. The colossal squid does not chase. It waits, suspended in the water column. Its body achieves near-neutral buoyancy, drifting with the surrounding current. No fin strokes, no wasted motion. In the midnight zone, stillness is camouflage, and patience is the most reliable weapon available. When prey passes close enough, the attack is brief and precise. The arms extend suddenly, not in a flailing grab, but in a controlled strike. Rotating hooks sink in, locking instead of slipping. These are not suction cups meant for holding soft prey. They are grappling tools, designed to anchor into muscle that resists. Once contact is made, the fight ends quickly. The prey does not escape through speed. It exhausts itself against an opponent built to endure pressure and force. Consumption is slow, deliberate, efficient. In a world where food is rare, nothing is wasted. The biomechanics behind this strategy are counterintuitive. The colossal squid's muscles are optimized for force, not speed, generating powerful contractions without rapid fatigue. Its tissues are dense, reinforced to function under extreme pressure where softer structures would collapse. Even its blood chemistry is adapted to bind oxygen efficiently in cold, low-oxygen water. Then there are the eyes. At roughly 30 centimeters across, they are the largest eyes ever confirmed in an animal. For comparison, they are wider than a human forearm, built to detect faint flashes of bioluminescence from meters away. A moving fish, a startled squid, a brief glow in the black, these signals trigger the ambush. Despite its size, the colossal squid likely moves less than most fish sharing its habitat. Stillness reduces detection. Stillness conserves energy. In the abyss, motion is optional, survival is not. Its diet reflects this strategy. Patagonian toothfish provide dense fat and protein, making each successful capture worth the effort. Smaller squids overlap territory and become opportunistic prey. Lanternfish schools offer energy-rich meals when conditions align. This animal does not specialize in abundance, it specializes in efficiency. This hunting style reshapes the ecosystem around it. The colossal squid is not a roaming terror thinning populations. It is a silent filter, removing prey slowly, predictably, maintaining balance in a system where recovery takes decades. Its presence is felt not through chaos, but through absence. And this raises an uncomfortable thought. A predator this large, this specialized, this perfectly adapted to darkness should be easier to find. It should leave traces, evidence, patterns, but it doesn't. Which leads to the final mystery. If the colossal squid is this large, this specialized, this perfectly adapted to its world, then why have we seen almost nothing of it? Not living footage, not repeated encounters, not even reliable population estimates. For a half-ton animal, its absence is unsettling. The simplest answer is also the most uncomfortable. It lives where humans almost never go. Below 2,000 meters, the ocean becomes a hostile barrier of pressure and cold that defeats most technology. For comparison, that depth is lower than stacking 6 Eiffel Towers end to end, submerged in darkness that never lifts. We have explored more of the moon's surface than this layer of Earth. There are other reasons, and they compound each other. Cold water tissue decomposes rapidly once brought to the surface, destroying evidence before it can be studied. The colossal squid's habitat spans vast stretches of the Southern Ocean, an area larger than most continents. Yet its population density is likely extremely low. Fewer than a dozen confirmed specimens exist, scattered across decades of chance encounters. This scarcity matters. A creature like this sits at the edge of biological possibility. Its size, density, and energy strategy leave no margin for environmental change. For context, its entire survival depends on cold water staying cold and prey remaining predictable. Even slight shifts in temperature or oxygen availability can ripple downward, destabilizing a system that evolved over millions of years. That brings the question closer to home. Climate change does not stop at the surface. Warming currents, altered circulation, and declining oxygen levels are already creeping deeper. For an animal built like the colossal squid, these changes are not gradual inconveniences. They are existential threats. And yet, there is something humbling here. The colossal squid reminds us that Earth still holds secrets large enough to challenge our assumptions. A creature heavier than a car, with eyes larger than dinner plates, can exist almost entirely beyond our awareness, not hidden by camouflage, hidden by depth. In the darkest water on the planet, evolution wrote something extreme, precise, and fragile. A reminder that some stories are not meant to be conquered quickly. They are meant to be approached carefully before they disappear without ever fully being known.